I'm Adam the Horror Historian, and this video, we're doing something a little different. A little awkward for me. While I was streaming the other night, a conversation came up talking about my video game collection. And I've done a few shorts on the subject, but I thought this would actually be a pretty cool way to talk about an entire franchise. And one that I've had sitting on my desk now for about a week. I really want to put them back where they belong. So we're going to talk about them now. One of the series I worked really hard at getting a full collection is the Silent Hill franchise. These are games I didn't even start playing till I hit 30, so this has been 9 years of randomly picking up these games, and for game collectors, you'll understand how hard that can be sometimes. I own a decent amount of the Resident Evil games. I think I have all of the Fatal Frames. Fairly sure anyways. That might be next. Now, this is a franchise I really wanted to collect, more so than the other ones, because for some reason it just connected with me a little bit better. I do plan on buying all of the different versions of it. You'll understand what I mean in a little bit. And there's a few little spin-off things that I don't own, such as a non-American release, but again, we'll talk about that in a second. So I'm going to be going over all the games I own. There are some noticeable missing ones, like I mentioned. This game's going to be going over all the different ones I have for this franchise, in order of which makes sense for the story, not necessarily in the order of release. Before I get to those though, let's talk about a few of the noticeable missing ones. I am missing the Silent Hill experience. This is a title that was released on the PSP. It's a promotional item and not a game. And honestly, I think it deserves its own video because it has a bunch of really unique things. It has music videos, several comics, interviews, and some of the game endings for the first two games. I am also missing the Silent Hill play novel. I don't think many people have even heard of that one. So this was a Game Boy Advanced Japanese exclusive. It's a version of the first game, but in a play novel form. And a complete in-box copy of this goes for like $250 right now, and that's not going to happen. There's a translated version done by fans that isn't officially released by Konami, but I may pick up a translated cart at some point. I just find those interesting. Alrighty, so the first game on the list here, Silent Hill Origins. Originally released in 2007 on the PSP, which is the copy that I have, clearly. It was re-released on the PS2 about a year later. This one seems to have a lot of people divided on whether it's good or bad. There was a very weird development cycle for this. Apparently, one version was meant to be like a Scrubs TV show kind of game. I don't know how that makes any sense. I do remember enjoying it for what it was, but it definitely had some issues. So I managed to get this game, thankfully because of the community around me over on Twitch. I used to have a goal set up, and whenever we reached that goal, I bought whatever game was specified. Part of me wants to bring that back, but I don't know, it kind of feels weird these days. Alright, now we're coming on to my personal favorite, the game that started it all. Oh, it's gonna do this without making a mess. Oh, that, bam! The original Silent Hill. I have a video of this game from way back when I first started making videos, and it really needs to be redone because it is bad. It needs to be redone horribly. Alright, this game was originally released in 1999. There was a digital re-release on the PlayStation Network. That situation also got rather confusing. It seems like Silent Hill has just had problems all the way through the life cycle of this. It was first put up in 2009 for the PlayStation 3 and PSP, but only in Europe. But for some reason they took it down, and not much of an explanation on that one. It made its way back up on the American servers later that year, and then 2011 Europe got it back. Again, this makes no sense. I have no idea where I got my copy, but I actually originally bought this as a loose disc, and I went through and made sure that I went back and married the booklet and the game insert, and that actually, I think that took me a good 6 years to do. For some reason, the insert was not easy to find. All right, now we have Silent Hill 2. I have more than just this copy, but give me a second. This was released on the PS2, Xbox, and PS5. It was originally released in 2001, which would be the PS2 copy. The Xbox copy I have is actually the first collector game that I ever picked up, and I didn't play it for years, not until I got my PS2 copy. I was streaming on Twitch, and I think I started it for my first attempt at a 24-hour stream. I don't recommend doing those. All right, so the second version of that, again, was the Xbox version, where it actually has a side story added to it. This is the Restless Dreams. You can kind of see it down there by my fingers. In that new section, you get to play as Maria. I've actually never played this side story. I'm going to have to soon because I think it would be good to have up on the channel. At the same time, this is also the latest release in the franchise. Yes, I have the PS5 version, not the PC version. I really suck at this game. It came out here in 2004. I die a lot. I'm currently, at the time of recording, streaming this over on Twitch and YouTube. I think this game is absolutely beautiful. I have seen some people with the PC version having problems, including a good friend of mine who has their game corrupted at least twice. There's a reason why I stick with a console. I know the PC is the master race of gaming. I'm too old and tired to be troubleshooting games. It's just not going to happen. I know my lane. I'll stick to it. Silent Hill 3, yet another game that my community bought for me. This is probably the one I think I've played the most. This game was released in 2003, which really makes me feel ancient. That is the same year I graduated from high school. This game is actually a direct sequel to Silent Hill 1, but from my understanding, it did not start out that way. There were a couple different ideas thrown around for this one, including a shooter game, which I'm pretty sure warped into Silent Hill the arcade. There was another version with a whole different scenario, but this is what they ended up settling on. I have a few theories on this, which is when they started development on Silent Hill 3, Silent Hill 2 wasn't quite released yet, and I think Konami just kind of had cold feet on the whole situation. I don't remember where I heard that, so I can't really say it's concrete evidence.
But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Silent Hill. The Room. This game is something. It seems like either you love or hate this game. For me, frankly, I have no desire to ever play this game ever again because I absolutely hate it. This came out just a year after Silent Hill 3 and was another one of those that the community helped me get, so I feel a little guilty saying that I hate this. This game has an interesting story behind it, and some weird controversies, and even some question if it's a real Silent Hill game. And I can answer this one for you right now. Yes, it is a Silent Hill game. It was always meant to be a Silent Hill game. I'm going to butcher these names. I am super sorry. Tsuboyama and Akira Yamaoka both have confirmed that yes, this game is a Silent Hill game, despite the fact the original name for the game was just Room 302. It may have started life as a spin-off, but it was always going to be part of the Silent Hill franchise, so we can stop that nonsense right now. If you want to hear about how crazy the Silent Hill fan base can be, there's an amazing video by Justin Whang over on his YouTube channel talking about circumcision, and you just gotta watch it. I mean, this... Wow.
The theory that Walter Sullivan, the main antagonist from Silent Hill 4, who first was mentioned in Silent Hill 2 as a serial killer, fell into his villainous ways because, as a child, he was circumcised.
This is another controversial release for them. We have Silent Hill, the HD collection. This was an absolute mess on release. Believe it or not, this was the game that actually showed me how little the game industry cares about what they make as far as preserving it. I view 2 and 3 as being very, very important games in horror history, and it blows my mind that a lot of the data for these was either gone or had to be remade. It's just wild. Now, this was released in 2012, and I think it gets way more hate than it deserves, and before I get crucified for that opinion, hold up a second. Now, if you're able to go back and play those PS2 or the Xbox version or any other way of playing this game, I think you should. But if you only have the option to play this as the HD collection, I mean, you could do way worse. So there's this website called Silent Hill Memories. It's a great reference for a lot of Silent Hill things, hence the name. But it has a good breakdown of all the bugs and issues with this version of the game. I don't think they're as game breaking as people make them out to be unless you play the originals. You may not even know what's wrong, which is kind of wild to think about. The biggest exception for me on that one would be the fog. That being removed from the game kind of ruins the whole atmosphere, but again, at least you're able to play the game. This pile's getting really small at this point. We are moving on to Silent Hill Homecoming. This is the game that killed the franchise, according to a lot of fans. This was actually the very first Silent Hill game I actually beat. I remember seeing ads in the box for when this was coming out, and I thought it looked super cool, and I wanted the 360 copy, but this wasn't going to happen. My ex-wife was actually very against horror in general. And so me picking up a random Silent Hill game was just simply not going to happen at all. This game came out in 2008, and I picked it up for the PC in 2015, I think? This game has so many issues, and if you are going to play it, I do recommend picking up a console version. The PC version is a broken, buggy mess, and I even have a worst the worst video that talks about it. I'll link that somewhere. The last in the mainline series that's been released so far, we have Silent Hill Downpour, which I think most people forgot about, except that it has a yeet button. I don't know why there's a yeet button. This was released in 2012. I heard this game was absolute trash. I didn't play it on release. And I remember a lot of people really did not like this game at all on release. I do remember enjoying it, except for the chase sequences. I think. It's been a while. I'm pretty sure Downpour is on my list of games to add to the worst of the worst, I think, for this season. So hopefully that video will be coming out relatively soon-ish. I got this game as a gift when I went to TwitchCon in 2019 in San Diego. That trip was a massive highlight for me, not just as a streamer, but just as a life experience overall. I met a lot of amazing people there for the first time in person. I continue to stay friends with most of these people. Not the one who gave me this game, but I'm still very thankful for the gift. So Shattered Memories is a reimagining of the original game. It was released for the Wii, the PS2, and the PSP in 2009. This is easily, I think, the game that I hate the most in the franchise. The game uses this interesting mechanic that's behind the scenes, and it does a little checklist for how you interact with your environment and how you do things that changes how the game proceeds as far as how people look and act towards you. It's supposed to psychologically profile the player. and cater the way the game looks to the player's interest. You get punished for looking at certain things around the map. It drives me nuts. There is a level of bias because I honestly believe that Silent Hill 1 is my favorite in the franchise. I occasionally go to Silent Hill 2, but I think 1 currently is my favorite. This game, this sounds awful. This game was another gift, and this one I got from my ex. The rule for her giving me this was I had to make it further than she did in the game, which she didn't bother telling me that she only made it like 10 minutes into the thing and gave up because she hated it that much. Yeah, you just got Nicole didn't bother telling me that no matter what I did, I'd be making it further than she did in this game. And Shattered Memories is the reason why I no longer make sure I finish a game on stream. If I don't like it, I don't finish it. That game just broke me. So this game I recently bought, and it's probably the one I know the least amount about. Silent Hill: Book of Memories. Came out for 2012 for the PlayStation Vita, and apparently it's very much a Diablo clone than a Silent Hill game. I can kind of see why people would not have a whole lot of interest in it. Not that it was the most loved game in the franchise, but the same year Diablo 3 was released, so if you were looking for a Diablo-like game, why wouldn't you just buy Diablo, not Silent Hill? I managed to snag this game from a shop in Western New York. I go there a lot. The owner has been amazing to me. I don't know if he's super cool with me throwing his name out there in videos. Well, maybe I'll give him a shout out at some point. If I can ever stream this game, I think I'll warn him, I'll shout him out, maybe. I'm not quite sure. Now, that may be all the copies I have that are physical. When I first returned to Twitch, this year? I'm going to say this year. I did stream The Short Message as my return game. Not just to Twitch, but streaming in general. And I do plan on doing a playthrough of the Silent Hill arcade game. I have that up and running on my PC. It has a few things I need to fix. And I feel like most Silent Hill fans don't even know it exists. And it does have some cool ideas in it. And the chances of me owning an arcade cabinet is slim to none. Anyways, thank you for watching the first video in this playlist. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to call it at this point. But hopefully you saw something in here that was cool. Anyways, much love. Bye now.